Midwest College Football Podcast, joined as always by Clinton Boring. My name is Ryan Sakoviak. I am going to try not to sneeze right now. Look at the light. And
Peanut
it's
butter,
Clint.
peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter.
Is that a thing too?
I've done that to myself for a long time and I don't sneeze. All it is a
Oh,
distractive technique.
wait, I'm sorry. You never sneeze.
Well, no, I've sneezed, but like if I feel one coming and I can stop myself, I'll, if I remember, I'll do peanut butter. It's not like I do it 1,000 times a year. I do it like twice a year and it's been effective. But
It's a good life
yep,
skill, Clinton.
Tyreek Hill's done.
You can make a lot of money with that skill. We are
That's fun
here
for them.
on back-to-back nights for the first time in a
Going
very long
back
time.
to back.
I guess it's not a very long time. We probably did this over the summer, but we are doing kind of a pseudo stock report for our midweek show, if you want to call it that. A little contender, pretender. But we're doing it a little bit differently than we did last year, whereas last year it was mostly playoff contenders. This year it's throwing back to our preseason Big Ten tiers, breaking it up and discussing whether the team is a pretender or contender within their tier. So, is this team going to go to a bowl game? Is this team going to be a playoff contender to contend for a Big Ten title? Things of that nature. It'll make sense as we go through. And we have Clinton's rolling player of the week. I know he's been looking forward to this for all week since the last one. Clinton, sir, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, man. My voice is so up and down. I don't know if I had laryngitis, don't know if I had an ear infection that drained into my throat and I can't talk. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm ready for my voice to be back. I'm sure it doesn't help having a job in which you have to talk to people all day long, so my vocal cords get no breaks. And now we've done a podcast back to back nights. So my voice should hopefully be back to normal-ish by Thursday, but I'm doing good overall, man. It was a hot one here in Columbus again today. Beautiful weather. I'm ready to settle into like some hoodie and shorts weather. What's your opinion on that, Ryan? What's your fall attire? Like, what are you in?
Oh, I'm definitely like even in summer I'll go long sleeves and shorts. I
Yeah,
don't
man.
know. There's
I'd have
just
to go
something
shorts.
about well, just like a dry fit shirt, like a tech shirt.
Still wouldn't do it. I'm
I don't
cut
know.
off
That's
in
just
shorts.
like that. That's my vibe. I love the We got Tutty.
We got a big pass to T. Higgins.
Ooh, nice. There's a flag though.
Yeah, I wonder if they hit Browning late.
Hopefully, I just need points in this game. I don't care
Nope,
who
it's false
wins.
start. Are you kidding me? Anyways, back to your
Um,
attire.
no, I like long sleeves and shorts is the vibe. I also like a nice light sweatpant with a nice light hoodie too.
Mm.
So this is that low 60s, upper 50s. That's my vibe, and I've been waiting for it, and I thought we were gonna get it, but we have summer again, which kind of sucks. I'm not a big
Yeah.
summer guy.
Yep. I like like a quarter zip. I'm into my dad quarter zip mode these past few years, but I also love a nice light hoodie with shorts. That is the most comfortable thing in the world to wear. So if we could get, to some chilly weather, not like cold weather, but some eating chilly weather, that'd be fantastic. Ryan, other than sniffly nose and sneezing, how are you?
That's pretty much it. I slept like 4 hours last night because I could not get comfortable because I had about 14 pounds of snot sitting in the front side of my face, and I actually have been doing okay until like 15 minutes ago. Go figure. We come on, and I feel like I'm about to sneeze and probably need to blow my nose, but
Mornings and night times, man. That's when my voice is also most brutal.
not the best. Anyway, you want to kick things off here with your rolling player of the week, and
Hit
I
it.
will blow my nose. Oh God, I completely.
We are now into ITP Roland Player of the Week, Week 5, and we have had 5 different Roland Players of the Weeks, which is pretty impressive so far. To recap real quick, Week 1, Justice Haynes. Week 2, Jonah Coleman. Week 3, Kobe Martin. Week 4, Jeremiah Love. And Week 5, Rutgers running back Antoine Raymond receives the ITP Roland Player of the Week with 26 carries, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 6.2 yards per carry average. Congratulations, Antoine. Maybe when I tweet this out, if you like us or comment back, I'll send you a sticker. How about that?
I'm sure that he would love that.
That would be cool, right? Put it on the back of his Rutgers helmet.
Yeah, I was gonna say pop it up. Do some guerrilla advertising
Be
there. Just
like,
pops up.
yo, Shiano, instead of little Scarlet Knights or something, can we just do ITP stickers when you have a great game?
Yeah, just we'll take that American flag off of there and pop the ITP logo on there. I'm sure that'll go over well.
Hashtag America, because this
What's
podcast
more,
is
America?
America.
Yeah, there we go. Anything else you want to touch on before we get rolling here?
No,
No
man, it
pun
was
intended.
kind of similar to what we talked about last night. It was a fantastic week of football. I was trying to tune into the Solid Verbal because they, we both love them. They do a great job giving um, an experience for all of college football, but they were really just mostly tuned in with the Oregon game because they were live there. And so I'm waiting actually on the episode to drop tomorrow so I can get their insight on like Georgia and all those guys. But no, man, spectacular season or spectacular game this weekend. It's been a spectacular season so far. We are what now? 5 games of 12 in the regular season, so we are almost to halfway, which is kind of disheartening. I don't know about your feelings with that. I know the season goes till February, but the regular season almost being done is slightly
I wouldn't,
saddening.
Clinton. We're a third of the way through the season, man.
I know it's depressing. I want to go back to
I,
week 1.
I will say I do think that like the first 2 weeks of the season are my favorite, just because like
It's the anticipation, the build up,
yeah,
the hype. It's here. You don't know what your team is at that point, and then by October, mid-October, most people know what their team is, and it's am I a contender or am I a pretender? And that's what we're getting into tonight. So what a perfect segue, Clinton. Little pat on the back here. I can be smart sometimes. I forgot that we had that sound. I meant to send you tonight and ask you if you had a sound for that. So.
oh yeah, they're all in there still.
All right, guys. So here's the setup tonight. Contender or pretender. I believe this was one, maybe 2 times we did this last year. I set this up and broke it down by national title, Big Ten title, playoffs, bowl games. And then I have a little true false questions for Ryan at the end. So, Ryan, would you like to start at the top or would you like to start at the bottom?
Oh, Clinton, let's start at the top. You know
All
what
right.
it is.
Yep. He prefers to be on top, folks. The national title, Ryan, contender or pretender? Penn State going to the national title.
I'm out. I'm out. We had this discussion yesterday. I'm not going to rehash the whole soliloquy. If you want to listen to the soliloquy, just listen
First
to the show
25
yesterday.
minutes of the show yesterday.
Yeah, I just, and listen, this is not me coming from like a hater perspective because I picked Penn State to win that game. I picked them to win the national title this year on nothing but a hope and a prayer because, you don't win it until you win it. You don't win the big game till you win the big game. But I mean, we're at a point now where so much has changed with this team over the last 10 years and the outcome is still the same. And at a certain point, you just have to look at everything in front of you and say, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. And that's not saying they can't. That's not saying they can't save their season. I mean, they can lose to Ohio State and beat Indiana, and they'll still make the playoff. And it won't even be controversial. But it's just been such a weird experience just like watching the Penn State fan base over the last 36 hours go from like utter dejection to
Fire Franklin, and then walking down the tunnel at the end of the game. Fuck Drew Aller. Oh
and
my
now it's
gosh.
like they're all just like trying to find a scapegoat and they're trying to rationalize and it's like
And
well
it's
maybe
Andy
Drew.
Kotelnicki now. It's
Yeah, and
Andy Kotelnicki's fault.
that's literally what I have. So the new scapegoat seems to be Andy Kotelnicki and his scheme. And we talked about this a little bit last night, and Clinton, I don't know if this was like a novel thought that I had or if I like read it somewhere 10 days ago and just kind of started thinking more about it. But this marriage between Andy Kotelnicki and Drew Aller just does not seem like the best fit. And it's just like he doesn't know how to or he's incapable of getting the best version of Drew Aller out there because they're just not compatible. And that doesn't mean I mean, I'm not going to go and this isn't a defense of Drew Aller because I think Drew Aller is not fantastic. But like, that's not to say that he's a bad offensive coordinator or Drew Aller is necessarily a bad quarterback. Like, you can love somebody and, have common interests with someone, but you just have no chemistry together and you're not right to be together. And I think that is starting to become the case here. It's and I'll kind of get into this in a minute, but it's just like it's not that it seemed like a weird fit from the start, but like when you think about what he did at Kansas with Jalen Daniels and the
Mm-hmm.
type of player that Jalen Daniels is, like why did James Franklin think that this was gonna be a fit? And I don't know, maybe you think like this guy's a genius, he'll figure out a way to get the scheme around the quarterback because that's what good offensive coordinators do, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to incorrectly attribute this quote to Chip Kelly because I think it was a quoted to Chip Kelly, but it was said in the context of Mike Denbrock. And it's like, Chip, what's your scheme? Well, who's my QB? Because that'll tell you what my scheme is. Because good offensive coordinators build their
Mm-hmm.
scheme around their personnel. They don't try to
Yeah.
shoehorn a square block into a circle hole. And that's kind of what Drew Aller feels like in this scheme. And again, this isn't to absolve Drew Aller, but I just think it provides context. But again, the fact of the matter is he hasn't been good enough. 14 for 25 for 137 yards in a primetime game when you're at home. That's not just a scheme thing. Like it could be, but that's both. Like that's not
Mm-hmm.
stepping up to the plate when you need. And again, he made some great plays with his legs. He made a couple of great throws last night, but it's the same thing that it's been the last 3 years. There's too much inconsistency. There's not enough good, and there's too much bad that still comes in. And this isn't even to absolve James Franklin either. Like you saw what this guy runs. You hired him. This comes after he fired Mike Yurcich before the end of the 2023 season, which came a year after the failed Kirk Shiraka stint in 2020. Like this would be 3 straight offensive coordinator hires that this guy has botched. Maybe botched is a strong word, but I don't remember the guy that they had after Joe Moorhead, but I think he went on to be a head coach at Old Dominion, maybe. So you started off good, and the last 3 haven't maybe been the best, but I just wonder too, like looking back at last year, that Bo Perbula package that they ran, if that was like Kotelnicki's way of subliminally saying, like, this is what my offense should look like. And I wonder, and this is not me saying with any inside information, this is just me 100% speculating, is I wonder if that was just going to be the plan going into this year because they just assumed Drew Aller would go pro, and then he told them that he wanted to come back, and James Franklin was too loyal to Drew Aller and just said, okay, you can come back, instead of following the plan of basically doing what Georgia did to Carson Beck and saying, yeah, we know you're good, but we're going in a different direction. Thanks, but no thanks. And I don't know the way Bo Perbula's looked at Missouri. Would Penn State be better off with him as quarterback this year? We could talk about that till we're blue in the face. But you know, you look at. We talked about this a little bit last night too. We talked about the Penn State wide receivers. They brought in new guys, and they're still not getting open. And they got open last year, so that has to be a scheme thing. Why is the running game getting worse? Are those players getting worse, or is that a scheme thing? And I wonder how much of that has to do with the lack of a threat or a reliable threat of the QB run because Drew Aller can run. He's athletic, but I wouldn't exactly call him like agile or fleet of foot. He's not a fantastic running threat, if that makes sense. Like, and think to last year too, like with Kotelnicki at Penn State, like you didn't have tape on him at Penn State, so you had to scout Kansas to kind of formulate a plan on how to stop him. So even though they knew his offense, they didn't really know what it would look like with those chess pieces on the board. And now you have that tape. Like you've seen him with a full year of Drew Aller, except now you don't have the mutant in Tyler Warren. And it just feels like it's too easy to stop. And he can't scheme guys open because the opposing defenses don't have to respect the quarterback run. That's an extra hat that can look at the running back, or it's an extra guy you can keep in coverage because you're just looking in the backfield. It's like, well, we know this. If this guy's going to run, we're going to catch him after 6 yards, and we'll take that every single time. So I just wonder if maybe if they had a better running threat at quarterback, if this offense would look a little bit more explosive. And that's a problem, man, because the D is championship level, but the offense is going to hold them back. This is what you have now. Like, we're talking about, like, people are like, well, just change your scheme. It's like a scheme adjustment of this magnitude is like a March, April thing, not a project that you overtake on a bye week in October. So I don't know how you make chicken salad out of chicken shit right now with this offense, but I mean, we've seen like this isn't just a 1 game thing, man. They didn't look good in their first 3 games against Cupcakes. I just don't know how you are expecting this offense to be good enough to be a national championship contender.
That was essentially my one side piece was, would this team be better with Bo Prabula? And I thought the same thing today. I'm not going to rehash it a ton. Was that the game plan? Was it we think Drew Aller's just going to be gone, and then we can just have Prabula run the offense? And he's a lot more dynamic than Drew. It's not like Drew's a statue, but he's not built to just be running around constantly. So it'll be super interesting to see. So Penn State's going to have some overmatched games where it's not going to matter too much. But when they go to play Ohio State and maybe to an extent Indiana's got some good DBs that can play man. Ohio State has the best defense in the country right now. They're not really having to blitz. They can just get pressure with 4. So if they can sit everybody back in zone or play man, what the hell is Drew Aller going to do? Cool, he might pop off a 5-8 yard run 2 times in a game, but they don't have to respect in the way that they would like a DeMond Williams, who can take off and scramble to the house at any point. So it'll be interesting to see what Penn State does. And you're right, good OCs, just like we said before, good DCs will scheme their offense and defenses to what they have, even if it's not perfect. So,
well, dude, look at Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
They ran quarterback power RPO, throw nothing further than 5 yards down the field all year last year because that's all Riley Leonard can do. And you ran one game trying to do something similar with CJ Carr. Your offensive coordinator's like, oh, this guy can actually throw the ball a little bit and he cannot run. Let's adjust it. And now they're throwing the ball all over the yard.
Yeah.
That's what good OCs do.
Yep.
You build it around your quarterback.
You find what your players do best and you maximize it. No excuses beyond that. And again, it might take a few weeks into a season, but we're now in week 6 for Penn State, and it still looks the same.
You had 3 weeks of tune-up to figure it out, and they haven't.
Because they were too busy pussyfooting around.
3 weeks and a bye week.
Yes, and we talked about this with Flip, like where they were really experiencing trying to get their receivers going. I'm like, well, maybe we should have just been focusing on the offense we need to be running, just period, instead of let's build chemistry. Like I get it, but it didn't feel like you took your opportunities as much there. So, all right. Obviously, we're not going to talk too much on this part with Ohio State and Oregon. I think we both agree they are a contender, not just for the Big Ten title, but for a national championship. So I have 3 teams listed in Big Ten title. First one, Ryan, the Indiana Fighting Signetti Hoosiers, pretender or contender?
Glenn, I'm going to call them a massive contender. I am not daunted by their performance against Iowa. I think that was probably just a blip, a one-off, and something that we'll look back on at the end of the year as a thing that happened as opposed to a harbinger of things to come. Outside of their 2 massive games, the rest of their Big Ten schedule is pretty manageable. You got Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, Wisconsin, Purdue. None of those teams should have any business beating them. Those are not teams that are on their stratosphere at all. I honestly feel like their floor at this point is 11-1, and I would honestly kind of be shocked if they don't beat one of at least Penn State or Oregon.
Yeah, I think
that's how I'm feeling about this team right now.
I think we can feel confident this Indiana team is better than Indiana's team from last year. Again, this was an ACL-less Curtis Rourke by comparison, but just the offense on the whole looks more explosive, which is hard to believe. Their defense looks better. They look like they have a better understanding of what they need to do to be able to win a big game against the big opponent this year. So I'm with you. I think Indiana is an absolute contender for the Big Ten title.
I will say, though, if you're going to get one, it kind of has to be Oregon. Because if you lose to Oregon, even if you go 11-1, there's still a pretty good chance that you end up on the outside looking in, because it's looking like because Ohio State and Oregon don't play each other. You could feasibly have both of them go 9-0 in Big Ten play.
Yep.
And then even if you're 11-1, you're 8-1 in Big Ten play. You're in the playoff. Good for you, but you're not playing for a Big Ten title.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's you got to steal the Oregon game, and then hell, maybe they go 12-0. Maybe they beat Oregon and Penn State. That would be something.
Yeah,
they might be the number one team.
I would
in the
be a little
country at
shocked.
that point.
They for sure would be. I would be a little shocked if they got both, but I would be shocked if they did not get at least one.
Yep. All right, on to the next one. Big Ten title, contender or pretender? The Illinois Fighting Illini.
Clinton, they already have one Big Ten loss. I find it very hard to believe that they are going to beat Ohio State. That puts you at 2. And even if you finish 10-2 at 7-2 in the Big Ten, again, you are on the outside looking into the title game. And honestly, given their schedule, they could be on the outside looking into the playoff game too,
Yep.
depending on how that Ohio State game plays out. Because,
Absolutely.
you're not going to have the high end. I think like they're 10-2, they would be compared to Notre Dame at 10-2 in terms of like their best win would both be at USC. The issue for Illinois is Notre Dame's 2 losses are 4 points to 2 teams that are potentially likely going to be in the playoff. And Illinois, one of their losses is they lost by 8 touchdowns to Illinois. That's going to hold them back.
Yep. Absolutely. I agree. I think Illinois you'd have to upset Ohio State to have a shot. You drop that one, you got a lot of work to do and hope and prayers to have that, Penn State's going to lose to, that Oregon's going to lose to, Michigan's going to lose to, and
Yeah, you need
you're
help.
going to get the benefit of the tiebreaker.
Yeah, you need help.
So
You need help.
I don't know about that. All right, last one in the Big Ten title tier, the Michigan Wolverines.
Clinton, I'm gonna say contender? Question mark. I don't feel great about it. I wouldn't really pick them to make it, given how Oregon and Ohio State look. You're going to need to beat Ohio State to make it, but they technically don't have a conference loss. You can argue that outside of Ohio State, they've already probably won their most difficult conference game at Nebraska. And I mean, if you look at their schedule, would you be shocked if they got to Thanksgiving weekend 10-1? You get Wisconsin at USC. Looks like it'll probably be the biggest challenge given the explosive offense the Trojans have and the road factor. You host Washington. We still need to see Washington do it on the road. But then you're at Michigan State, Purdue, Northwestern at Wrigley Field, and at Maryland.
Yep.
Like there's some landmines in there. I don't know that I would wager on Michigan making it through that unscathed. But again, like we talked about preseason, if you get through Nebraska, your path to undefeated in the Big Ten essentially goes to Columbus at that point.
I think Michigan is absolutely a Big Ten title contender, but I do think one of USC or Washington will clip Michigan. I think I'd put my money on Washington more at this instant because I think, what is that game? Is that late October?
That is the week after they are at USC.
Oh, God. So they got to have that on a back-to-back. Now, they get them at home.
Yep.
But if that's a hard-fought game with USC and 2 back-to-backs, that could be a challenge. Washington needs to be a little better on defense. They tackle and pursue well, but they need to force some big plays. But I think Washington's offense is only going to keep getting better. And when Damon Williams was in last year, Ryan, they gave Michigan fits on defense. And that's Michigan with their studs from last year.
For sure.
Gave them fits. And Damon Williams now plays the entire game. However, Ohio State did kind of just lay a pretty good groundwork of how to kind of stifle Damon Williams. So we'll have to see.
Yep. I will say, too, Bryce Underwood against his 2P4 teams this year, 21 of 46 for 247 yards, 11 carries for 60 yards. That needs to be better, and a wide receiver would help. And I don't know that they're getting that this year.
Yeah, and I believe Washington tends to play a lot of man. This past week, they floated more zone, so again, they could try to protect against Jeremiah Smith. But they play a lot of man from everything I heard. So
well, if Takario Davis is back too, they're going to man up those wide receivers.
If they're
no problem.
Not scared of Michigan throwing, that what's going to stop them from being in man the whole game to come after them. So that'll be an interesting matchup. All right, we're on to the next 3 in the playoff section. Contender or pretender for the playoffs, the USC Trojans.
Oh, you did this backwards. You got me all messed up here. I thought you were going to say Nebraska first.
Got to keep you on your toes, man.
Clinton, USC has now given up 30 points in back-to-back games against not explosive offenses, and realistically, they could have also given up 30 to Purdue if Ryan Brown didn't vomit all over himself in the red zone and throw 3 interceptions. They do not have the defense figured out, and I think at this point in time, there's a better chance that they lose their next 2 games than they make the playoff. To be clear, I am not rooting for them to lose to Michigan because them beating Michigan would be fantastic for my football team.
Mm-hmm.
But they got gutted on the ground by an Illinois team last week that was thoroughly shut down by Indiana. And what do you think Justice Haynes is going to do to them in
Oh my
2
God,
weeks?
kill them.
What about Jeremiah Love? What about Jadarian Price? Do you think like Michigan and Notre Dame might combine for 600 rushing yards against USC over that 2 week span?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty scary for USC in that scenario.
And even if they do manage to get through the next 2 games unscathed against Michigan and Notre Dame, they're still at Nebraska and they're still at Oregon.
Yep, that'll be a tough schedule to finish through.
I hope they go 10-2 and lose to Notre Dame because that would be good for Notre Dame. But this feels like an 8-4 team again, 7-5 team again.
I think I agree with you. I'll give them a +1. They'll be 8-4. All right, next one on the docket. We'll start with the team that you thought I was going to go with last time. Contender or pretender for the playoffs, the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
I'm gonna say contender, and I think this might be more of a schedule thing than anything else. But there is still a fair amount to like about this team. They were right there with Michigan. And quite frankly, Clinton, that Cincinnati win has aged a lot better than I think anyone else thought. Like we
Cincinnati's
watched,
4-1?
yeah, they're doing well in the Big 12. And Brennan Sorsby is one of the
Dealing.
like I think he's like top 10 in the nation in yards per game, and that's after he threw for like 60 yards in the opener.
Yep.
Like after Nebraska thoroughly shut him down, I'm like, oh, this guy just sucks. No, he's been fantastic this year. So you now have a significant non-conference win on your resume. The Big 12's wide open. If Cincinnati's there at the end of the season, it would not surprise me at all.
That'd be awesome to see that. If they made a Big 12 title.
Their 6 games coming out of the bye are not without landmines, I would say, but it's doable. You have Michigan State at Maryland, at Minnesota, Northwestern, USC, and at UCLA. Then you have another bye, and you finish up at Penn State, at Iowa. That is going to be a tough end to the season. So, I mean, 10-2 is a possibility. I don't know if I would bet on that because we need to see this team. Like talking about Penn State, I'll see it when I believe it. I will believe that Nebraska can stay out of its own way once I see them do it because they have not done that the last 2 years. Their pass defense has been great. That's a fantastic place to start, number 1 in the nation. They're allowing less than 100 pass yards per game, but that's because teams are just running all over them. They're 111th nationally, allowing 173 yards per game on the ground. And there's a lot of teams on the schedule that are going to try to run the ball on them. So I'm going to say contender. It's another one I don't feel great about, but that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I think Nebraska contender. This could also be. I didn't check today to see anything on Gronowski, but if this is a Gronowski-less Iowa, that's a much less scary Iowa.
True.
To be there. So
Yep.
they might easily roll that one if they can survive one of the other ones. And again, that's a late game. Nebraska Penn State. If Penn State's offense is not better, Nebraska's got a pretty explosive offense.
It's true.
So
Yep.
that'll be a tough one. All right, last one in the section of playoff contender or pretender, the Washington Huskies.
I'm still going to go tepidly contender, and much like Nebraska Clinton, I think this is solely a schedule thing because they end the season hosting Oregon, so you have a chance for a notable win there against a conference opponent. But prior to that, they are at Maryland, they host Rutgers, they're at Michigan, host Illinois, have a bye week, at Wisconsin, Purdue, at UCLA. That's a lot of travel, and they were not great on the road last year, so you look at this schedule, it's like, well, they should beat Maryland, but also they lost every road game last year, and they lost to Rutgers last year traveling that far, so that's hard to chalk up as a win. But what we've seen from this offense against not Ohio State teams is it's an offense that should have them firmly in every single one of those games. I don't know that they'll necessarily be favored in every single one of those games. Maybe not against Michigan, since
Definitely
it's on the road.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other one, they're definitely not Oregon. They will not be favored against Oregon. But the other ones, they probably will be ?
Yeah.
It's doable, man. And that's kind of like Michigan. If you get to that last weekend 10-1, then all bets are off.
Yep. All right. Wow, I just lost my voice. Drink of water here. Okay, to the next category and last category. Bowl game, pretender or contender, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Clinton, I'm going to say a soft contender
Nothing
as
like
opposed
being soft, man.
as opposed to a firm contender. They are 3-2 right now, meaning that they will need 3 wins against their remaining schedule at Washington, Oregon, at Purdue, at Illinois, Maryland, at Ohio State, and Penn State. The issue is you're looking at 3 of those 7 games as essentially an auto loss because let's be real, they are not beating Ohio State, Penn State, or Oregon. As
No.
good as their passing offense has been, that's not happening. So you need to win 3 of 4 games against Washington, Purdue, Illinois, and Maryland, which how their passing offense has looked, I think they can definitely beat Maryland and they should beat Purdue. So you need to steal one against Illinois and Washington. And if you remain explosive on offense, Ethan Kaliak-Manis continues to take care of the football, find his wide receivers. I think they can get one, but of the I was gonna say of the 3 teams, they're the one I feel the worst about, but that's not true. And we'll get to that in a second. But they can do it. I I wouldn't buy stock in it though.
Yeah, looking at Rutgers, they've got that USC disease of we lead in the fourth quarter and lose. So they got to figure out a way to close games in these last 2 here, or they're going to be in big trouble. They may not make bowl eligibility if they can't finish a game. So to the next one, contender, pretender, bowl game, Michigan State Spartans.
Clinton, I'm gonna say a contender. Not as soft as
You
Rutgers.
were not in this category, Ryan, in the preseason.
I know.
I was the one half of the show who believed Michigan State would make bowl eligibility, and then our buddy Jeffrey the Greek was all on Michigan State pretty much easily making a bowl game this year.
So they're 3-1 now. I'm not the biggest fan of the way they've necessarily looked so far, but I think if they keep growing offensively, the schedule affords them opportunity. They have a big stretch here at Nebraska, hosting UCLA, at Indiana, hosting Michigan, and at Minnesota before their next bye. They better beat UCLA. If
Oh
you
my
can
God.
steal one of those other 4 games, though, so again, that would be at Nebraska, at IU, hosting Michigan, or at Minnesota, then you only need to win one of your last 3, which would be hosting Penn State, at Iowa, or playing Maryland and Detroit. And I think they can probably beat Maryland and Detroit.
Why is this game in Detroit?
I have
What are we doing here?
no idea.
Why are
Not a
we
clue.
taking a home game away?
Not a clue. They fought hard against USC, and that was kind of a tough schedule spot for them playing at fucking midnight
Yeah.
Eastern time. I think they have enough to give you hope. Nick Marsh sounds like he's getting healthier. If Aiden Childs continues to grow and the offense continues to get more explosive, I definitely think they can steal a game against Minnesota or Michigan or maybe Nebraska, but it'll be close. I think they can do it.
Yeah, I think that Michigan State Michigan game looms very, very interesting this year. Arguably, Michigan State should have beaten them last year. They did not because they
Yep.
didn't execute. And the progress of Aiden Childs this year, he looks good, man. I mean, I don't know. You play that USC game 10 times, they go 5-5 in those scenarios. I think Michigan State has the ability to go stride for stride with USC. They're
Agreed.
not going to go stride for stride with the top tier of the Big Ten, but
No.
what do they say? It's a rivalry game. You throw the record books out. Is this game at
It is
East
in
Lansing?
it is in East Lansing this
Okay,
year.
so that's a nice favor there for the Spartans. So this will be very interesting to see. Right now, I still stand by my original season prediction. They are a contender for bowl game. The last team in the bowl game, contender or pretender section, the Wisconsin Badgers.
I wasn't even going to let you finish that before I say that. Clinton, they are 2-2 right now, which means they need 4 wins against the following teams: Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota. Are they going to win even one of those games?
This is why I put them in there, because if somehow Billy Edwards playing turns this team around and they'd manage it, that would be impressive. But I more wanted to discuss, just to bring up that schedule again. My God. Brutal.
That's
Absolutely brutal.
It's probably the 3 best teams in the Big Ten on here, plus a fantastic offense in Washington, a team that I just said is a contender to be a playoff team. Illinois might not be a playoff contender, but we said Big Ten title contender. I
Mm-hmm.
think. I mean, if they keep it close against Ohio State, they
Yeah, and
certainly
they go
could be a
10 and
10 and
2.
2
Yeah, they're a
team.
playoff contender.
Minnesota looks really good on offense right now. They are traditionally very good on defense. They haven't really gotten that quite figured out yet with the new defensive coordinator, but that's still a team that is usually a bowl team. And then you have Michigan this weekend coming off a bye, and Michigan's just going to run all over you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. If Fickle somehow got the magic working, but I don't see them being able to stop. If there was a team, right? Like if they could contain Michigan's run game, Wisconsin doesn't score a lot of points. If there's a team maybe they could contend with lesser points scored, maybe it is Michigan, but Michigan's going to bleed them out with the run game. They got no
Yep.
shot. I really want a J.K. Dobbins touchdown here. I need it for fantasy purposes. I love you, Bengals, but you guys look like shit. Just give Dobbins the touchdown, please.
Clinton, it hurts my soul watching this garbage franchise waste Al Golden.
Hey, Ryan, if you also want a quick update in our Dynasty Championship game, it's 38-14 Indiana.
Oh my God.
Yes, he is turning him over. Unbelievable. Oh, RJ Harvey's in. I hope they don't score. Anyways, now, I agree. Wisconsin, pretender. Now we're into the true or false section of this. Oh, thank God they tackled him episode. Ryan, let's start here. Oregon, sorry, true or false, Oregon will go undefeated in the Big Ten regular season again.
Oh, I'm going to say true.
I think so too, man. They're going to start their first 2 years of the Big Ten 24-0. That's impressive.
It is very impressive.
I don't care how much cocaine Dan Lanning's snorting, but
That's the funniest conspiracy theory that's on the internet right now. He looked.
out of his
That was
mind.
either like, yeah, that man was either doing something illicit, or those are the strongest smelling salts I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
I mean, if they get through Indiana, they also have to go to Kinnick. I will say we've said it before. Kinnick is where dreams go to die.
Yep.
But
And that's viable for a night game.
that is true. That is
That
true.
is viable for a night game.
That is true. I'm not worried about at Rutgers. I mean, I know that's a long trip. I'm not worried about at Rutgers. I'm not worried about them hosting Wisconsin. We'll be at the Minnesota game. That'll be fun. I'm not really worried about that. I'm not worried about USC at Autzen. At Washington could be a little spicy rivalry game, depending on where Washington's at. Maybe a playoff berth on the line for the Huskies in that. But if they make it through Indiana, man, I think they're probably going 12-0 again.
Yep. Next one in the true or false. Ohio State's team in 2025 at this point, Ryan, is already better than their 2024 national title team.
I'm gonna say false, just because I think the defense is marginally better, which is insane because the defense.
Interception. Fuck you guys for not giving the ball to JK. That's what you get, you piece of shit. Anyways, back to the show.
I just needed points, man. I just need the over to hit. So the defense is better, but I think it's marginal. This isn't to say the offense has been bad, but I think the offense is a fair bit worse.
Yep.
You don't have.
Well,
I mean, you look at what they lost, man. Emeka Egbuka is tearing up the NFL right now.
Yep.
And Will Howard was fantastic in this offense, and they were not afraid to let him rip. It's not to say that they're afraid to let Julian Saint rip. They just really haven't asked him to do it. You are not better at the running back position.
Not
Maybe
right
the
now,
offensive
no.
line's better.
I'm actually, honestly, even if Bo Jackson pops, you can't be better because you had Henderson and Quinshon Judkins.
No, it's not even
And
close.
James Peoples actually looked like he knew what he was doing last year, and at times this year he doesn't.
Yeah. So you're a fair amount worse at running back. I would say at this point in the season you're worse at quarterback, and that feels weird to say because I think long term you're going to be better at quarterback. Julian Saint is going to be a better college quarterback than Will Howard. But at this point in his career, again, as a redshirt freshman, he is not as good as fifth-year senior Will Howard was last year. The wide receiver room is maybe a touch worse just because you don't have Big Buka there. But again, that's not saying that it's a bad wide receiver room. That's just comparing it to last year. So I'd say that is false.
Yeah, I would also agree that that's false at this point in time. I'm still not sold on what they're doing with Sand here. Ohio State's running so many 3 tight end sets I'm not sure what's going on. They're in such heavy packages, and I hope this is not a precursor of the bullshit that we're just going to come out and try to smash Michigan in the mouth at the end of November, because you're going to fucking lose again if you do. If watching this end of the first half and second half of the Washington game, they went back to more of their spread where they're utilizing the wide receivers, which is what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Your wide receiver room, your wide receiver 5 is probably a wide receiver 1 at most places. My God, spread them out and get them the ball. And again, we'll see as they get more comfortable. I expect, Ryan, this week, and we'll get into this on Thursday, I think Ohio State's going to railroad Minnesota, and I think they're going to put up a lot of points on offense because I think they're going to let Sayan sling the rock in this game. So we'll see what happens, but I agree. Right now, false, they are not. By end of season, we'll have to see. I think their defense might be better than last year's defense.
Oh, yeah, I don't even know that that's...
It's super impressive.
Yeah.
All right, I got 2 more here for you, Ryan.
Okay.
True or false? There will be at least one more Big Ten coach fired before the end of the season.
Ooh. Hold on. Let me look at Northwestern.
It's some pressure, right?
It is.
I have the one in my mind.
I'm gonna say... I'll go true. I'm gonna say Northwestern cans Braun.
Oh, see, now I wasn't going Braun. I was going Fickle. If Wisconsin doesn't win another game and they're sitting there very into the season, I think he could be fired.
Now, are you saying in season or like...
By end of regular season.
So, like, not... Like, even if it happens after game 12.
Yeah, you've got to be fired by the end of game 12 or, like, right after. You cannot be bowl season.
Okay.
So that what they call it in the NFL Black Monday.
Yeah.
So whatever they want to call it in college football, the following Monday after the rivalry weekend, last weekend of the series, you got to be canned by then. Other than that, I'm on to bowl season.
Yeah, I think that there's a chance because like UCLA stinks and Northwestern almost blew it. If they lose to ULM this weekend and then they get boat raced the following weekend by Penn State, then you got a game against Purdue that you got to win. If they lose Purdue and then lose Nebraska, I think going after that into that bye week, they might can David Braun.
And then bring back Fitzgerald.
Yeah, well, that's bridge has probably been burned, but
yeah, I think he's F you guys. I'm done.
I can't get a read on what Wisconsin's going to do with Fickle because it's just like you kind of went out on a limb when you fired Paul Chryst early, and if you fire Fickle after 3 years, like, I get this is different than it used to be where it's like, well, you got to give a guy 5 years to build his program, and then you look at Kurt Signetti come in and turn Indiana from a festering shithole into a contender in less than a season.
Idle contender in basketball. So
yeah, I mean,
idle contender in basketball. So
yeah, I mean, if Wisconsin goes 2-10, I think they probably pull the trigger. But if they go like 4-8, I don't know.
And Fickle's coming to be your defensive coordinator next year.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm coming around to Chris Ash, but they did play better against Arkansas.
Huh?
It sounds like he did the Al Golden thing, where Al Golden came in and was like, these kids are smart. I'm going to install every possible concept that I feasibly can. And then halfway through the season realized we wasted a shitload of time doing that. I don't even use any of this stuff. And I think they're getting to that point, or they got to that point where they're like, well, we're not doing anything well, so we're just going to focus on 3 things we're really good at. And it actually worked out pretty well against a really good Arkansas offense. So I don't know. Maybe Chris Ash is redeemable after all. We say that now, and then they're going to give up 500 pass yards to USC in a couple weeks, and I'm going to be like, fuck this guy!
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Last one of the night. UCLA will go winless in 2025. True or false?
That's true.
I think I agree. 100% true.
I'm going to need somebody to show. I mean, I get that college football is weird and weird things happen, but like, you have Washington on the schedule, you have Ohio State on the schedule, you have Indiana on the schedule, there's Penn State. That's 4 of your remaining 8 games that I just don't view you as having any sort of a shot in. The way you play defense, I don't think you have a shot to beat USC or Nebraska either. So that leaves it up to hosting a Maryland team that has been much improved on offense or going to Michigan State as your quote unquote best options for a win, don't like those odds. I do not like those odds.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see them getting it done, man. I don't think they're good enough at this point. So that is a true statement for me. Ryan, that is all I have for you this evening, my friend. I'm ready for
Cool.
Thursday now.
Yes. Get out of here. Enjoy your anniversary, guys. Thanks for joining us this evening. Follow us on the socials at ITPCFB. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, ITPCFB.
Play battle bets with us.
Play battle bets with us. Look at our Twitter page. You'll find the link there. Make sure you're subscribed in the podcast feed so you get notified whenever these episodes drop at Inside the Pile on Midwest College Football Podcast. Thank you. We'll see you Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern for picks, previews, all that fun stuff. Okay, thanks. Bye.
See you.